I think we should once a month or at least once a quarter do this, because there's always things that I think our community, our expat community,
absolutely
is going to get extreme value from. I mean, just that WhatsApp, like for emergencies.
Yeah, that's huge. I can't tell you how people that I've heard comments from. I called the police and they showed up. Like, oh my God, they actually showed up, and in 5 minutes,
right? That's great.
In fact, right up near us, there was a fire the other night.
Oh, there was.
We thought one of the somebody called in on WhatsApp. There was a new project being built up there, and there was a fire, and they thought, oh, something's happening in the new construction. The fire truck showed up. The police showed up. I got the message. Well, actually, it was the night guard cooking his dinner.
No way.
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja California, sir. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
Here we go.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Bob Schultz.
Yes.
A longtime friend. I've known you for a number of years, and you've been here a long time.
18 years.
And just as long as I have.
Yeah.
So I wanted you on the podcast because a longtime expat living in Cabo, and you're very involved in the community and different efforts. So
if you're going to live here, you got to get involved. Otherwise, it's a part of living here. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. And tell everyone where you're originally from.
Well, actually, I grew up in the Detroit area, and then spent 7 years in the military, most of that in Southeast Asia, and back in the 60s. And then when I came back from there, I just wasn't happy in Detroit. So a friend of mine called me up and offered me a job in Las Vegas doing show production. And I said, why not? So I went to Las Vegas. I lived there for almost 50 years, off and on. I was traveling a lot. Doing a lot of work in Europe, Asia, filming, doing entertainment program. And then 18 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I sold all my houses, my businesses, everything in Las Vegas, and moved here.
Wow.
And
had you been to Cabo before moving here?
I was looking for a place to retire, and we came down on a cruise. And I got off the cruise boat, and I'm walking down the Marina, and I looked at my wife, and I said, this is it. And it was about 5 minutes on the land. 5 minutes, that was it. I said, this is it. There's something here. I don't know what it is, but this is it. And the next day, we bought a place. I got it. And
wait. The next day, so you came on a cruise ship, and then on that trip,
on the cruise ship, we bought a place. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Got on board the boat, and I'm sitting there scratching my head, and I said, I just wrote biggest check of my life for a house that's not going to be finished for 2 years from a guy that I never met before. And what have I done?
Have I lost my mind?
Have I gone crazy? But it's worked out. Everything, the universe just put everything together and made it happen, and it was great. It's been a great life down here. I've enjoyed it. The great people. I love the Mexican people. They're great people, just incredibly
warm, inviting.
They're, if you ever needed a friend, that's the friend you want to have. Right. They're always there when you need them, even if you don't ask. They look at you and say, "You need me," So they're always there, and I like to pay back. So a long time ago, I learned that when I was going through some seminars and so forth, somebody taught me size seminars back in Las Vegas, and the owner of the company or the founder of the company said, you get back what you put into things. Winners win, and winners get, and givers get. And that's always been my mantra. Givers get.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. It's been a good trip.
So the 18 years that you've lived here, what's kept you busy? You've been retired from the film industry.
Well, not actually, never totally retired. I don't want to ever retire. Mm-hmm. Actually, shortly after I moved here, I met, I don't know if you knew Bill Boyce. He's a world famous fisherman.
Okay.
And he was down here filming right after Odile. He was supposed to film a commercial down here, and he came down, and he asked me to give him help because of my production background, and he was amazed at how quickly Cabo had recovered from Odile.
Right.
I mean, in a matter of a couple of weeks, people were sitting on the beach drinking margaritas, you know, and so he decided he had a project with NBC, CBS Sports. Called Destination Baja Sur that was supposed to start in about 3 years. We moved that up, and then we started filming 2-year episodes, 26 episodes of a television show called Destination Baja Sur. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like an Anthony Bourdain type thing, but it was centered on fishing instead of food.
Okay.
And so we started up in Magdalene Bay and worked our way down throughout the whole Baja for 2 years filming and put together 26 episodes. We ended up with 7 awards, almost like similar to an Emmy award for cable television. Mm-hmm. We won 7 of those for that show.
Goodness.
And then in doing that, I also met a couple of other people that we wanted to do something like the art walk over in San Jose. We wanted to do something like that in Cabo. Mm-hmm. And so we set up the Marina, and every Saturday we were doing a kind of an art walk with there. And then they moved it over to Wilkes Plaza and where it's at now. And then I just left that and started getting involved in helping. I found that a lot of the information that people were getting and basing their decisions on living here was incorrect. It was.
What were some of the misconceptions or misunderstandings?
A lot of it had to do with, you know, the old adage down here back in years ago was that, you know, the laws in Mexico are not really laws, they're suggestions. Mm-hmm. And people took that at heart. Right. So they didn't follow the laws. They didn't follow the regulations. They didn't do what they were supposed to do to set themselves up properly. And it ended up costing some people a lot of money, time, and inconvenience down the road later. So I started trying to do a lot of research as to how a foreign resident should live here and what they need to do for getting bank accounts, what they need to do to get proper driver's license, what they need to get the permanent residency, and so forth and so on. And so from my own experiences, I learned those things, and then I just passed on the proper information to a lot of other people. Yeah. And it evolved to the point where we ended up, during the election about 3 years ago, for the primary, or for the mayoral election, I had started a group called the Knights of Cortez, which is a men's breakfast group, and it was a social group. A bunch of guys get together and kick the can down the road type thing, tell stories, and you know, the first liar doesn't stand a chance, you know, that type of thing. And
I've attended one of those before.
And so we ended up, we've got close to 300 members in the group. And we have a breakfast every Wednesday morning, and we get 25, 30, 40
You guys
people.
are still doing it, too.
Still doing it, yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's been around for almost 10 years. Yeah. And in that, about 3 years ago when the election was coming up, we were an apolitical group. And but we decided, you know, we're living here and we're having to adhere to the laws of Mexico and what's going on politically. Let's find out what it's like, because it's not the United States or Canada. It's a whole different system. Right. And so we invited all the candidates to come to our breakfast. And all the candidates all came, and everybody, you know, they gave the typical political stuff, and everybody sat back and said, "Oh yeah, the politicians, how they say the same thing all over. It's just like in the U.S., But one of them, Professor Legs, he was different. He asked us questions instead of
the opposite,
the other way around. And I really liked him a lot. And so the person that helped us put that together, Nohemi, I think you know Nohemi. I said to her, I said, I need to find out more about this guy and what's going on. So when the breakfast was over with, he came over to me, and between Nohemi and I and so forth and so on, he said, if I'm elected, he says, I want to start listening to the foreign residents in Cabo, because nobody's ever done that before. Nobody's listened to you guys. And there are currently, legally, there's about 15,000 foreign residents here. And there's probably close to 25 or 30 that work off of a tourist visa, but still own property or have to live here. And I said, sure, we're happy to do that. We'll help. I'll help you do that. And I forgot about it. He got elected. And about 2 weeks later, I got a call from Nohemi, and she said, Bob, the mayor wants you to form a group called the Foreign Residents Advisory Board and meet with him once a month and tell him what the foreign residents' concerns are.
Sure.
And what we can do to fix it.
Yep.
I said, wow, as a politician. So for the first time in my memory or knowledge, he actually hired Nohemi full-time to work for the tourist department within the municipality as a liaison between the municipal government departments
and the expats
and all the foreign residents.
Wow.
And so she's full-time, works out of the CATAC office down on the Marina.
Yep.
And if you're a foreign resident and you have a problem with your taxes, or you're having a problem with a department within the municipality, you can go to her and explain to her what the problem is, and she'll try to resolve it. And she's done an amazing job doing that.
That's amazing. When was that started?
A week after he was elected,
office.
He hired her as part of his tourist board within the municipality.
So when he leaves office, very well.
Good question.
Yeah.
No. So what he did, very smart man. He's an amazing person. I am so impressed with him. He went to the government of the municipality government and actually got the government to pass a legislation that formed that department permanently.
Oh.
It can't ever be erased.
So she withstands changes of
if
the
it
mayoral.
changes, when the municipality, when the mayoral position changes, there's a new mayor comes in, and it may not necessarily be Nohemi that has that position again, but someone is fixed in the budget to be that and do that.
That's great.
And that's huge. I've talked to people that have lived here longer than me, and they said they've never heard of that before.
We should have Nohemi on the podcast to talk about that. That's a huge service to the foreign community.
Absolutely. And she then, between Nohemi and myself, we went around through the community and tried to find some people to form a committee.
Yeah.
And we've got 14 people now that are on that committee, and we meet every 2 weeks and discuss the problems and so forth that are going on and what the solution might be. And then we actually present them through the tourist board, the municipal tourist board, to the mayor with the problem and a potential solution.
Okay.
And so we met right after that, when we formed that group, that committee, we actually put together a open meeting for any foreign resident that wanted to come. And we sat down and talked with them. There were almost 200 people there. And we talked with all of them, or almost all of them, and asked them what their concerns were. And from that list, or all that concerns, we made up a list of 10 items that were the major concerns from everybody. I was surprised. The first one, the number one was security. which I didn't, where I was living, that wasn't a problem.
Right.
But apparently it is in some other areas. And so we asked, what do you mean by security? And they said, well, we don't think the municipal police really respond to our call. We can call 911. Okay. And we ask them, or we tell them that somebody's robbing our house, or somebody's robbing the house across the street, or somebody's stealing my car, or whatever. Right. And the police say, yeah, and they hang up, and nobody comes out. Nobody shows up. Mm-hmm. Well, we did some research, and we found that the problem wasn't the fact that the police didn't want to come. They didn't speak English. The person calling was complaining about an event or something that was happening in English. The police didn't understand English. And Mexican people don't like to say no.
Right.
So they'd say, yeah, sure, okay, hang up and say, what was that all about? And never show up.
Right.
So the mayor,
that's interesting.
We went to him and told him what the problem was. And so he actually formed a WhatsApp emergency number.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A WhatsApp emergency number that is manned 24/7 by an English-speaking police officer.
Incredible.
So, in other words, you have somebody, the house next door is on fire. Okay. Yeah. You call the WhatsApp number. Mm-hmm. The police officer answers, gets a hold of the department that needs to get there, the fire department or whatever it might be, and they respond. The average response time on those calls is about 5 minutes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you know the number off the top of your head?
Well, actually, here's what you have to do. It's a WhatsApp number, but it's a WhatsApp. It goes out to your phone.
Okay.
And it's voluntary. They can't, the government, municipal government can't put that together within the municipal function.
Okay. All right.
It has to be outside of their function, but they do it as a voluntary basis.
Okay.
So what you do is just contact Nohemi or me or anyone in the foreign resident board. Give them your name, your phone number, and your general location of where you live.
Okay.
Because there's actually several different WhatsApp locations. Okay. And you'll get a notice on your phone by WhatsApp that you are now a part of that, and there's a phone number that you just text in or call if you have a problem.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and actually, what we've done is to facilitate that a little better. We just started a couple of weeks ago a Facebook page that for our group, the Foreign Residents Advisory Board.
How many people are in the group?
There's 14 of us right now, and each one of us has an area that we're of responsibility and so forth. And so we've got now, you can actually go to our Facebook page, and it's called Foreign Residents, Los Cabos Foreign Residents is the Facebook page. And just type in there your name, phone number, and where your location is, and that will be forwarded to the police department, and then you'll get a notice back on your WhatsApp.
Oh, that's another way. Great.
Yeah.
That's a private group on Facebook, or it's public?
It's actually there. It's been so successful that it's now set up in all of the areas, and there's, I didn't realize there's over 130 sections within the municipality of Los Cabos. It starts just halfway up the road to Todos Santos, and goes all the way around to the East Cape. Well, within that, there are 134 areas of responsibility for which there's a delegate. And so they've combined some of those in like areas under one app.
Okay.
And then there's another app for Altazal, and there's another app for San Jose, and another one for Las Brillas, that type of thing. Okay. So that's why we need to know your general location, so which app you're attached to.
Okay, got it. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured, or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. So that's security was one of them, one of the 10.
Yeah.
What else was on that list?
Well,
Water,
obviously, and traffic, the safety on the highway.
Sure.
That actually was number 2.
Did you see last night the accident off the bridge?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We've been working trying to figure out here's what that highway is, a federal highway. Mm-hmm. It's Mexico 1.
Right.
Okay, and 19.
Yep.
Those are federal highways. What we learned in this municipality meeting is that the municipality has no jurisdiction on that highway.
Because it's federal.
It's a federal highway. They can't even stop somebody for speeding or an accident. They can only respond if there's an emergency that needs their attention right now until the federal police arrive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Other than that, they can't do anything. So we suggested to the mayor that maybe there would be somewhere where we could set up a cooperative program with the federal government and the state government and the municipality to do something about the highway.
Right.
So when Professor Leggs was about 4 months ago, was over in Mexico City at a meeting, and he met with the highway department and got approval. Mm. We are now able, as the municipality, to function on the highway in all respects. They can ticket, they can do everything. Okay. And why that's important is that what we've learned through a lot of studies and so forth, we've learned that the highway accidents, by and large, are from speeding.
Yep.
And the reason there's so much speeding is that everybody knows there's not enough federal police to police it.
Yeah.
So now that the municipality can police it and so forth, we're actually, and you'll see it happening here within the next couple of weeks, the speed limit from the bull ring to San Jose with intermittent breaks, the speed limit's going to be reduced in some areas to 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers with those very large speed bumps, not the little short ones that'll hurt, but the big one. Whenever there's if there's a change in the speed limit, you're required to put one of those speed bumps.
Okay.
To show that there's a change in the speed.
I didn't even know that
I didn't either.
I thought it would just say stop.
No, that is a signal that the speed limit has changed. Slow down.
Slow down, idiot.
Yeah. So from the bull ring to Costco is going to be 30 kilometers. Really?
Only 30 kilometers?
Only 30 kilometers. And it's going to be policed by the municipal police department. There are new signs, speed limit signs going up and so forth. And we're working on trying to figure out, if you see those electronic speed things,
where it announces
they have the capability of taking a picture.
Okay, and then they can mail in.
And then they could mail a ticket to you based on the.
And it's good that Cabo has the most advanced mail system on the planet. We're working on that too.
Yeah. But anyway, so it'll be 30 up to Costco, and then from Costco to Fresco, I think it's 40, and then from Fresco to Punta Ballena is 50.
That's half the speed or a third of the speed right now.
And then after that, it goes back up to 80. And then it'll go to 80 all the way up till you get to where you start seeing the hotels as you're entering into San Jose.
Like El Tule?
Just past
Hilton,
El Tule. Yes.
Okay, Westin.
You probably don't notice it, but the speed limit signs along the hotels, all the new hotels there, the speed limit signs are already up.
Oh, I didn't know.
I
think I'm driving too fast. I didn't notice.
You're not alone. But hopefully that'll cut back on a lot of the accidents.
Well, the enforcement is key. If people know that no one's there to enforce it, they're just whatever.
Exactly. The other thing we found, downtown after 5 o'clock at night, downtown Cabo, parking is not enforced. And so we went to the mayor and said, why are there no enforcement of parking?
There's no staff.
Well, they couldn't find any police that want in the traffic police, the parking police that want to work after 5 o'clock. So there were no police, and everybody downtown knew that they're now.
So park in the red zone. And
park in the red zone all you want. And so they're working on that.
Okay. All right.
Working on that. But, it takes time. It takes energy. It takes commitment. And the other thing it takes, and, that's why I really appreciate what you do here with these. You transmit a great deal of very good, accurate, and important information to the community. Yeah. I know you're in the real estate business, but I've watched several of your podcasts, and they're not about real estate. They're about other things. Yep. And that's a huge service to the community. And our hope is, and that's one of the things I'd like to ask everybody that's watching this or anybody that hears about this, we're looking for people who are in the various communities, especially in Altazal. We're looking for homeowners associations to get involved with us in the Foreign Residents Advisory Board, not to be part of the board, but for us to be a means of communicating what we do to their residents within the within their boards, within their community. In other words, Cabo Bayo, for instance. Right. We would like to have somebody from the Cabo Bayo HOA come to our meetings and then return back to their homeowners association with what we're doing. Yeah. And community. That's why we started the Facebook page. One of the biggest problems we've found is we had no real way of communicating to the community what we're doing. Yeah. And so people would say, well, what are you doing? Who are you?
Who are the other 13 people on the advisory board? Is it public or?
Well, we have a list.
As outspoken as you?
No. We have, for instance, Nohemi is actually she's our liaison between us and the mayor's office. And by the way, the mayor has said every one of his departments, if we call them and ask them a question, his answer is, you better reply. So he's 100% behind us. But there are 15 of us, and I could go down the list, but it's on their Facebook page, who they are and what regions they're in and what areas they're responsible for, so that you know who to contact. Right. I'm really excited about, I don't know if you know Mirabel Silva McLaughlin. She's our new U.S. consulate agent at Palmilla. She's now our...
Oh, fantastic.
She's part of our group.
Okay.
And so she now, in fact, she's been away back and forth to the U.S., going through all the training that she has to do to handle passports and handle notary and handle all of the things that the consulate office used to do here. But we haven't had a consul agent in a long time. It took almost a little over a year, just for them to vet her, to go through her.
Sure.
After she was actually hired, then it took them a year to approve it. And then it took another 3 months for the Mexican government to approve it. Jeez. So she's just now started. And one of the things that we're doing is actually, one of the things we found with her help is that a lot of people were down here who are not able to travel to go back to the United States, or primarily in this case, the United States. Their passports were expiring and they couldn't go back and renew them. And the office here couldn't handle it because there was nobody authorized to do so. So with Mirabel's help and through the Nohemi and so forth, the 31st of this month, we're bringing people from Tijuana down here to process passports for that one day by appointment only.
The last day of each month? Or,
no, it's just this one time.
Okay.
We're trying to. We've got a bunch of people that are really in dire need of their passports have expired. They need, whatever, And so she actually, Mirabel, got the Tijuana passport people are coming down here for one day to handle those emergencies and so forth. And that was because of our Foreign Residents Advisory Board that she became aware of it. And so
you guys are meeting every 2 weeks, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should once a month or at least once a quarter do this, because there's always things that I think our community, our expat community,
absolutely
is going to get extreme value from. I mean, just that WhatsApp, like for emergencies.
Yeah, that's huge. I can't tell you how people that I've heard comments from. I called the police and they showed up. Like, oh my God, they actually showed up, and in 5 minutes,
right?
That's great. In fact, right up near us, there was a fire the other night.
Well, there was.
We thought one of the somebody called in on WhatsApp. There was a new project being built up there, and there was a fire, and they thought, oh, something's happening in the new construction. The fire truck showed up. The police showed up. I got the message. Well, actually, it was the night guard cooking his dinner.
No way.
Yeah. But they were there in 5 minutes with a fire truck and everything.
That's funny.
But it was somebody that was aware of the WhatsApp, used it for what they thought was an emergency. And it could have been. And
tell everyone, Bob, the best way to get a hold of you. Because we're certainly not covering everything on this podcast, but you'll be back to talk about more.
Actually, what we would really like to have people do is to go to our Facebook page, and that's Foreign Residents Los Cabos.
Okay, Foreign Residents Los Cabos on Facebook. Make sure to fill out the quick little form.
Well, actually, all they have to do is just send a message. It's a closed app. It's a closed platform. In other words, it's not a invite. It's not a complaint center. It's more of a communication center. Here's the facts. Here's the rules. Here's what you have to do. And so we're new at that too. So we're just in the process of finding out what works and what doesn't work. That just went up 2 weeks ago. Okay. So Foreign Residents Los Cabos.
All right. Perfect. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for doing this. It's a good service.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for doing everything you're doing. And I hope you come back here very soon and we can talk more.
Anytime. Just say the word, we'll be here.
All right.
Maybe we can get Nohemi to come back.
That'd be great. If she isn't with work. I mean, it's going to be work related, right? I mean, it's PR. So
they have to be careful in the municipality in that respect, but I think we can get permission for her to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If not, we can go to her.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Bob, have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
And for everyone else, reach out to Bob Schultz. Don't reach out to him. Go to the Foreign Residents Los Cabos Facebook page and make sure to fill in your information. They'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and that's a great service for the foreign community. And everyone, until the next one, bye for now. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate. And follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.